5 Live.
Good afternoon, this is Mark Pugach at Goodison with 5 Live Sport. I'm delighted to say that Keith Wyness, the Chief Executive of Everton, has kindly taken the time to join us and to talk about the big issue of the week. Thank you for your time, Keith.
Good afternoon, Mark.
We've had an enormous response to this today and last night on the text, and I have to tell you, most of them are very, very negative. You've got FIFA saying you'll get it past us, they're not convinced. Michel Platini says it's a joke. Sir Alex Ferguson's not amused, he wasn't consulted. Gordon Brown says if you do this, you've got to use the money to subsidise the next generation in terms of season tickets. Do you accept you've got a PR battle on your hands at the moment?
No, I think I can accept the fact that I'm surprised people are taking such hardened positions already, because all we've done is put forward a concept, an idea. We said we're going to discuss it over the next few months. There's a lot of detail to come out yet, and I think it's wrong for people to take such hardened positions so soon.
This issue of the 39th game also vexes a lot of people, and there are some suggestions that it completely skews the element of competition. If you're going to do this, keep it at 38 games, they're saying. Maybe even if this season, if I'm a season ticket holder here at Everton, I have one fewer game, the season after I wouldn't. Do you accept that that is really concerning people, that the 39th game might just dislocate the sense of competition?
Well, my sense of the arguments at the moment are that everybody accepts the global appeal of the Premiership. There's a massive interest overseas. There are many fans overseas we have to serve as well.
Sorry, why do you have to serve them? Why do you have to serve the overseas fans?
Well, I think that there is such a keen interest in the Premier League. I think it's important that we try and help them get more involved in the Premiership. And it is a position that the Premiership is the top league in the world, and we've got to carry on consolidating that position. I really believe that.
Is this not... But everything you're saying, Keith, people at home, I'm sure, will interpret this as just about money. You want to consolidate that position to make more money. You want to take these games abroad to make more money. Is that all it's about?
Well, as I said, Mark, I was about to finish, that apart from the commercial considerations, there is also the footballing considerations, obviously, and that is still a debate that's being had, and there's a lot of details still to come out. I'm confident the Premier League has thought this through, and they will, I'm sure, in due course, unveil the details. Now, my reading of it is FIFA have not said they're going to oppose it. They said they're going to examine it. It's a different thing. I think Gordon Brown also, although I'm surprised the Wraith Rovers fans get involved in English football, Gordon Brown has said that we should be listening to the fans, and we will do, of course. There's a lot of things to be said here, but the debate's only just started.
David Gold said to us on the programme last night that the money, as far as he was concerned at Birmingham City, and certainly he said that you talked about this in the meeting, that extra money would go towards subsidising season tickets, because at the moment the average age of a supporter in the Premier League is quite frighteningly high, isn't it? I believe it's 39, which is the highest of any major European league. Would you go along with that here at Everton? Will you use some of that money to subsidise season tickets so you get the next generation in?
There are many things to look at. It gives us, I mean, obviously the new resources would give us a lot of opportunities to look at things like that, many initiatives. But given that we only got this thrown out as 10:30 last Thursday morning, and as I say, there's a long time yet to have this debate, but those are very interesting lines of approach, and I think it will benefit the whole game in general.
What part will the fans play in all this? In other words, if they are as hostile as they have been so far, and I accept that people quite often doesn't, it's the same with our job, only text us to tell us that we're rubbish. They never text to say what a great job you're doing. So people may not be texting to say I'm fine with this, but to what extent will you take their views into account?
Well, obviously you have to listen to the debates, and we're having that very fiercely through the media right now. Obviously we're getting a lot of initial gut reactions. Gordon Brown threw out the word this morning about consultation, and it's a very, very broad word. And I think Richard Scudamore said this week, if we were just to listen to the fans on all issues, we wouldn't have, we'd stay at 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday. The Premier League may not be in existence. Many things wouldn't have moved forward. And I think it's right that the Premier League shows leadership and takes things forward, having consulted properly in the appropriate ways. Now, what those appropriate ways are yet, and what those bodies are, is difficult to see. I think it's... I'm quite sad, I think, that some of the fan groups have taken such strong positions without knowing the details so far. And I think that's an important thing. We've got to take a deep breath and just look at this for a little bit longer.
We had an Everton fan, one of your season ticket holders, texted us last night and said, if this happens, if Everton go and play, let's just say in Bangkok, the game before that at Goodison, or maybe in your new ground, will be my last ever game watching Everton. Now, if he or she was here, what would you say to them?
Well, I'd say, let's just work this through. And I'd be, that would be a gut reaction, as I say, to something that's happened in the last 48 hours. I think a reasoned response to this is what's needed right now. And I do think it's a very, very exciting opportunity. I think it's the way forward for the league, I really do.
Is this the start then? I mean, amongst that meeting, are you saying Well, let's start with one game. Who knows where it can go? It might go to more than one game.
No, that's one thing that was discussed, and I think we're very clear that it would be one game, and that's what we're talking about, is one weekend for the Premiership, and not starting to go into a creep into a bigger number of games. But so that's all part of the detail that'll come forward, and I'm confident Richard will provide that.
Are you surprised by the reaction thus far?
Not really. I think in a sense, I'm pleased that it's so important to so many people. It shows the strength of the Premiership, and I think that's a positive for us. It's provoked headlines all around the world, and that does show the position we have, and so we have to capitalise on that.
One more thing on this, and then I will ask you about Everton season, because you're doing really well. Do you think you have to try and convince people? I've asked the question already, but I'll go back to it. Most people do think it's about money. Most people texting us and emailing and calling us saying, it's about money. We know it's about money. That's all they want to do is make more money. Do you think in that sense you have to try and convince a few people?
I think it is about the positioning of the Premiership as the top league in the world. Now, money will come from that, there's no doubt. But there's also then the power to do great community work, to do other programmes that come with that responsibility of being the top league. So there's a much broader issue, and that has to be thought through and thought about as well. OK, Everton, you're doing very well. Could be in the Champions League next season. It's an exciting season in the Premier League. It has been. We've had a very good spell, and we obviously want to push on. We think we've got the squad this year that can do that, so we're very hopeful. Your manager's had to be very hard on Yakubu, hasn't he? Yes, and I think quite rightly. I think it's been very disappointing. I think he has let the rest of the team down to a degree. It's been a continuing problem with a number of players that have gone to the African Nations Cup. We had problems with Stephen Pienaar going down already from going down there in the first place, and now with Mr. Yakubu coming back. And I think that's something that the African nations and FIFA have got to look at, and we'll be speaking to them this week about it. Sure, but I mean, Yakubu, that was nothing to do with the competition that he was back late. No, but it's... You could have come back with Joseph Yobo. I say it's been a recurring problem with players who've disappeared into Africa, and it's something that's got to be addressed. Thank you for talking to us. We appreciate your time. Thank you.